looking good, John.
Well, I got the specs on because I can't see too when I'm, what do you call it, nearsighted?
Yeah, yeah.
This way here, I'm good, but for close up, I need the specs. A little
I like
gray,
it.
nice.
It's a good look for you, man. Happy Sunday fun day to you and yours, man.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you so much. What's going on today?
Well, today we're just hanging with the family. We had cold. Where are you on? You're on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm originally from the East Coast.
So we had a pipe burst here yesterday because it's been like 15 below with the wind chill. So yesterday and into today, I was messing with the pipe, because I can sometimes fix these little things. I couldn't do it. I did like 5 Lowe's trips, talked to the guy, talked to another guy. How do you do this? YouTube. Couldn't do it. I called the plumber. He's coming tomorrow though. So today, man, after all that, after this, I'm probably gonna lay in the bed and chill.
Hey, that's what Sundays are for, man. Relaxing, usually football. You into sports, John?
Yeah, I mean, not like I used to be. I am, I grew up in Boston. As a younger person, I loved every sport. I loved them. I played them all. Loved all the Boston sports. But as I got older, eh,
I'm a big
yeah,
boxing guy, baseball. I mean,
yeah,
your team is my enemy. I would imagine you're a Sox guy, right?
oh yeah,
From
yeah.
Boston. I'm originally from the East Coast, like I was mentioning. Roselle Park, very near Elizabeth, Newark, all that.
Right now, we live in Amherst, New Hampshire, which is about 45 miles north of Boston. You know what I mean? It's southern New Hampshire. It's very mass-like in a way. It's good, like a younger kids. It's good for them, kind of quiet. A little bit of a hassle for me to commute sometime, but whatever. This is where we are right now.
Yeah,
So
I tell you what, I miss the food on the East Coast. In Vegas, we got some good, eateries, but nothing like the pizza,
yeah,
something with the water over there. We got it going on, man.
yeah, yeah. No, I know. There's plenty of chow around here.
And you know about food being on the set of The Sopranos, which I want to talk about. You made your
Yeah.
grand entrance as Gigi in season 2, episode number 1, grand entrance, and ended up being, in my opinion, a guy cool enough, to be like Elvis and end up dying on a toilet later on. So
Yeah,
congratulations on that. Tell
thank you.
us about your journey as Gigi with The Sopranos, John, if you don't mind me asking, man.
Well, sure. If you want to hear from the very beginning and so forth, or
Sure, man. Let's go for it.
so, I had this audition. I jumped into the first season late. You know what I mean? It was already making rumblings of this new show, The Sopranos. I wasn't watching it as it appeared on Sunday night at that moment. I was hearing about it. And then I suddenly caught up to it somehow, somewhere. I forget even how. But I remember going, oh, I want to be on that show. Shit, that's a good show. So I got an audition. I went in. I did that thing in season 2 out of nowhere, bing, bang, boom, right? And then I got word that I was going to be used more, doing good, recurring character, but beep, but boop, getting promoted. And it was going great. Everybody liked it. I liked it. And then, of course, up until the day of the fateful phone call, which was, that phone call about see you later. It was all good. It was great. So that was a blow, of course, getting that call, because he had just said, like a real person, he said, "This is a phone call I hate to make." I knew what that meant right away. And it was like a real thing. It was like a real death. I'm like, oh my God, when? Next show. How? You're dying in the toilet. What do you think he's telling me, right? So I'm going, no, 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 no. You can do something else. Oh, sorry, man. We like you, but this is what we're gonna do. This is good. I go, no, no. And then I kind of pleaded, he was like kind of patient. He goes, hey, this is what we're gonna do, kind of thing like that. And I went, okay, hung up. About 8 days from that day, I went in and I had about 9 days to shoot though, still. So I still felt like I was on. I kind of like things kind of subsided mentally, emotionally. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like, oh, I'm still here for like a month. You know what I mean? By the time all is said and done. And I got back there, I was in the regular groove until and then finally that last day came, and that was it. Although I strangely came back the next season for a dream, sitting in the back seat, which was what? Okay. I mean, I was glad to do it, money, this, that. But getting a phone call, let's see, yeah, you're going to be in a dream. Tony's going to go like this, and you're going to be there for a second.
The test dream. That's a great episode
That's dream.
where Tony's in the living room with the horse and Carmela's looking
Yeah,
at
I
him.
love that episode.
That's such a random. That's a great underrated episode, man. And
It is.
you ended up doing a total of 13.
I think it was a 13 or 14. I think
yeah, 13 or 14, and
Yeah.
he was risen, like a great one. That unfortunately was the end of our captain.
Yeah, I mean, I always like, everybody wants more, a show like that, of course. Picture it being on like the Patriots, right? And they're on their way to the Super Bowl, and they go like this to you. It's great, but you're going home. You know what I mean? You go, wait a minute. Whoa.
Man, that's
that train was, I mean, even by season 3, the premieres were at like Ziegfeld Theater, these big, huge parties. And they were huge in season 2 and 3. By 4, 5, 6, and onward, whatever, they were huge, really huge. I mean, I would see Keith Richards. Everybody was there. It's like, what the hell? Then, so you don't want to go home, naturally. But when all is said and done, I'm glad I was on it. It was a great thing to be on. Obviously, the greatest show ever. Still, right? Oh yeah,
I agree. The cast, the writing, it doesn't feel like, obviously a television show. It doesn't even feel like a movie. It feels like real life. Everything about it, especially being from the East Coast. The one thing I love about The Sopranos is that it really captures the essence. And I like that David Chase, was very particular about filming in that area, because that has a certain look. That Jersey City area, that Newark area, that has a very certain distinct look to it.
Yeah.
With the Polanski Skyway in the backdrop and stuff, like, you could almost smell it through the television. You know what I'm talking about.
I mean, let's face it, the planets were in line for him, for the show, for us, for everything. The miracle of having James Gandolfini. I don't care who it is. And obviously, it's easy to say you can't picture anybody playing roles. You can say that about anything. Yeah. Say it was somebody else. A little bit. No, they got the only guy who could have killed that role to that level. And I don't know if it was Ray Liotta. Somebody said no to an offer. It might have been Ray Liotta, a legit offer to play that role. I think it was him, right?
Yeah, I know that he was in the mix. And,
like an offer.
Yeah.
And as good as he is, and it probably people would love the show, I'm sure, but they got a guy, man, that was just friggin' off the charts.
He is that character. Everybody in that show is that character. It's unbelievable. Right.
I mean, to me, he was like the son of the thing, and everybody was just, great characters, no question. Junior, Paul, you go on and on and on, right? But he was the man, and it all emanated from him. And I've always said that, you know what I mean? And he's made it what it was. And then we all complimented whatever was happening. But for Chase, though, don't forget, he got turned down by like a network, ABC or NBC or something.
Yeah.
That would have been a much more PG, obviously, thing.
It wouldn't have worked the same way.
Just think about it. Saying they said yes to him, shot a few episodes, and said, listen, you canceled. That's it. It's over. But they say no to him, which must have been crushing to him at the time, but turned out to be good. Years later, HBO goes, yeah, sure, let's go for it, man. Right? So it all worked out. Everything worked out. Right time,
Beautiful stories, man. And you know what? It was a right show at the right time, and look what it's done for television. Lead characters, not only male, females, everybody, the whole way shows are set up, like Sons of Anarchy and Breaking Bad, and like the crew, like there's such a purpose to television now. And I believe The Sopranos really set like an example of how to make really good storytelling over time and really bring the characters into home. Like Sundays were a big deal, and it's a big deal to me that you're spending a Sunday morning with me over here, where I'm at. because it's a big deal. I mean, the Sopranos, when the Sopranos were on Sunday night after, the weekends, you had HBO, you had the great shows on, they, obviously on the Sundays, but you had the boxing on Saturday. You looked forward to Sunday, whether it be Oz or Sopranos or Sex and the City.
Yeah.
I mean, the weekends were set. They're like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I'm
It
watching
was
Sopranos.
Sunday, say right now, this time of day, both there and here, it was palpable that you went like this. The Sopranos is on tonight. It's fucking Sunday. Watching the
Yeah,
Sopranos.
yeah.
It was like right. It was a real thing. You go, it was psyched about it. You really
Oh,
wanted like it's on tonight. I waited a whole week. See, they did that was before the streaming thing where you see everything at one
yeah.
time. Even though some of them are backing off that now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They don't give you
yeah,
the whole.
yeah.
They don't want to give you the whole load at one time. Boom, you're done with it. It was
Right.
better. It was better to lay it out once a week.
Oh man, I tell you what, when I waited in between, I'm 44, so what was it, season 2 when you came in, when Pussy returns, like that was a big fucking deal. Like honestly, we watched it at a bar in New Jersey. Someone, had it rigged, so we had everyone there shooting pool and doing everything. And then
Yeah.
that came on, everyone bought food, everyone shut the fuck up. We sat down and watched it. And like that was the biggest thing when Pussy comes in the beginning, you're like, oh man, this is
Amazing.
crazy, just like that. And that was a big anticipated episode.
It's incredible. I mean, prior to that, like say the networks, there was such a thing. You should probably remember like the ABC Sunday night movie of the week.
Of course.
That was a big deal. You know what I mean? They had like a special sort of different thing that was not like a series. There wasn't a lot. You know what I mean? Really, HBO had just really started. They probably had done a couple of things, but these dramas like this, I don't even know what, but it was amazing,
Yeah.
And the first season, incredibly, even in its formation stage, really holds up well, looks great, sounds good. It's just it's an amazing lightning in a bottle, really.
It looks phenomenal still, like, the way it was shot. And even with the cell phones, I mean, I think it's just great that, I love modern television. You were talking about apps, so it kind of ties in. And I do love all this stuff, but it does get confusing and it becomes a distraction. And even
Right.
when you're watching TV nowadays, they're using things in very good TV shows. I'm like, I can't relate to this because I don't know what the fuck they're doing here with this thing.
Yeah,
It's like I have to ask my wife, what is that? And she's like, that's something that you do. I'm like, that's all right. I'll just take it for what it is. I guess it starts the engine on this fucking plane, but
yeah, man. They have to. I know, and these writers, these new shows, they got to kind of acknowledge that this stuff exists and try to work it in. But you're right; it complicates things, and you got to do the cell phone, these big iPhones, with the flip phone or those primitive phones. That was perfect.
yeah.
It was just a step above like a phone booth. You know what I mean?
Exactly, like the Zach Morris Saved by the Bell thing. What would
Yeah.
you say to like up and coming actors? Because sometimes like less is more. It's an oversaturated market. Like with apps, there's so many indie films being shot, which is great. I mean, and I have a lot of friends that are actors, and it's just like there's so much. Where do they even start to dip their toe, man?
In many respects, it's easier to do something than it was, when I started up. For example, you can film yourself and put it on YouTube, and it's, whatever. Maybe you get hits, maybe you don't. But to start out legit wise, where there's so many people, you just gotta hope to get a bite. You need a lot of luck. You need talent. You need luck. You need the perseverance. You need the ability when the time does come. Now, I've blown some opportunities, I'm sure. You know what I mean? It's like Monday morning quarterback. You go home and go, that audition, could have had it. I fucked it up. It wasn't good. But whatever. You think about it. But you know something? Every now and then, you get the phone call. You go, I mean, my batting average, right? It's not a great batting average for auditions I've gone to and the things I've gotten. If I was a baseball player, I'd be in the minor leagues. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one to say that. You know what I mean? Honestly and realistically, that's how it is.
Of
But
course.
if you go there, like say baseball, you like baseball. I'm 0 for 10, but I friggin' hit line drives, right at somebody. All right, that's good, right? If you're hitting dribblers back to the pitcher, you go, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You're stinging it. You go, all right, I'm onto something. I'm not getting the results yet, but something's something. So you keep at it, and you hope you get a bite and see how long you can stand it.
That's like everything in life, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a professional drummer. I have been a very long time. You know, I do this interviewing thing, and I'm into boxing heavily. I do a lot with the pod and all that kind of stuff. And you know, you just got to keep chipping away, man. And the thing is that's what I love about like people that are creative because you still love it at the end of the day. You don't ever want to go out there and just throw yourself out there and just take everything. But at the same time, it's like at least you're creating. There's
Right.
some gigs that I did, and I'm like, why did I do that? And there's something I should have done, and there's some that I wish I got, and I'm like, man, I could have done that. And for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I shit the bed at the audition or something as a drummer. I think
Yeah.
I wasn't tall enough. They were like, hey, you know, you look good, you know, you play good, but you know, you're not tall enough. I'm like, man, but you know, you stick it out. But let's talk about your start in acting, if you don't mind. Like, what got you in, man?
Well, I really I didn't act as a young person, you know what I mean, or high school or nothing like that. I had no real aspirations to be an actor. I was going to college for criminal justice. Not that I even loved that. I was just going to college. I don't
That
give a
showed
shit.
up on Law and Order, though, right? The TV
Yeah.
show. Yeah, of
So,
course.
so I took that because I didn't really want to go to work. You know what I mean? You know, so I went to college, and I said, "What can I take?" Shit, everything because I wasn't a good student. So I said, criminal justice seems at least mildly interesting to me. So I took it. I was, you know, sort of into it. So I went 2.5 years straight doing that in college. Quit, just randomly quit. I started getting A's. Quit school. Don't want to go. I go back. Now I'm 26, going part time at Suffolk University in Boston, and I go to I wanted to graduate and get out of there. The registrar said you didn't fulfill all your requirements. You know what I mean? All that shit you require. I go, what do you mean? What do we talk requirements? What? I go, well, from this column, you know, science, you got to take something from here. And then there was public speaking, voice and articulation, acting, and about 7 other things. He goes, you got to take something from this column. I go, I really didn't want to. I go, you say you can't graduate. You got to take something from this column. I went, well, let me take the acting. I swear to God, just like that. I went, I'll try the acting. Okay. So I took it. I go to the class. And and you're going to get up in front of people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was a ham and egg with my friends a little bit. It was funny. It was kind of, you know, crazy, whatever. But still, but once I started doing it, I strangely went, I think I like this a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like I could channel my weirdness or something into this.
Exactly. It's a great way to put it. You know, any creative outlet as a musician, the first time I went up there, I was nervous and I was very young when I did it. You get used to it, but still, you always feel it keeps you sharp, that sort of thing. But that's what you got to do, man. You know?
Yeah, so that's what I did. So here in New England, of course, there were no films, there was nothing. So I say, okay, I want to be an actor. Okay. I start studying. I know I feel like I got something. You know what I mean? I don't know what level, but I got something. I can do something. Um, in Boston, there were corporate videos. If you know, those are corporate training industrial films, we call them. There was a shitload of those, and they paid well. Um, there were commercials, random commercials you can get. There was theater. So I did all three, a mix of all three.
Wow.
And I, eked out like, making a living, kind of making a living.
Yeah.
Like not
Yeah.
more than a lot of guys, but not
Surviving actor. Yeah. You're a surviving actor. Yeah.
you go like this. Wow, for a guy living in Boston, I'm surviving, doing miscellaneous things. So then I go, okay, I'm really into this. I need to be, I need to be a fucking champion of the world here. going to New York now. You know what I mean? So I start sending pictures to New York people, all that bullshit like that, right? But then I say, I'm afraid that they'll see the Boston postmark on the envelope.
Hmm.
Ah, you know what I
Yep,
mean? Dismiss me.
that's right.
This is how dedicated we were, how times have changed. It looks like the Pony Express right now
Yeah,
in the advancement of like shooting your whole video off on a phone to somebody
it's unreal.
instantaneously. We have to lick the envelope, put a picture in it. Put right. So anyway, we say to ourselves, me and a couple other guys, we must circumvent them looking at the envelope. We'll go down there and we'll slide pictures under the door. It'll do two things. They won't see any Boston postmark and they won't have to open the envelope. It'll be there. The picture will be there.
Boom.
You know what I mean? Like, say they open the door. That's what it was. You got a little book called the Ross Report. It had all like, it was this big. Like all the where the casting offices were, where they're located. And you'd literally do a little map. Okay, we'll go down this street. I mean, I can't even believe I did it. We'll go down this street and see who we can slip pictures under the doors to. It's big signs, no solicitation, don't walk in here, get out of
Yeah.
here, all that shit, right? But by doing this, it started everything for me. Without doing this, it wouldn't have happened. So I got a bite from doing this from ABC, all my children.
That's
Chick goes,
amazing. I was
yeah.
going to ask you about soaps. Yeah.
So she goes, yeah. So, anyway, I get a gig at Under Five, they called it back then, to be on the show. And it was great. I maybe did another. Anyway, it went really well. And in the meantime, I'm sending out stuff to agents, and they're all ignoring me. You know, my tape is like, because I'm a rookie still. You know what I mean? I go, it's Boston stuff. You got to see the potential. I mean, not like you've only done this. No, you got to say like you've done this because you're over here. But it's good. So if you're over here, so anyway, that lady at the soap was really nice. I waited. I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna call her." You know, I said because she complimented. She sent me a whatever. She told me I did really well. I forget if we had a phone call. I waited a little bit. I called her. I said, "Listen, Gene, John Fiore, remember me?" Oh yeah, hi John. Listen, if you got a minute, how do I get an agent? I just, you know, if this is no good, we're gonna hang up. I don't want to be too pushy. She goes, hold on a minute, and she came back on the phone and go, Monday morning, you're going to Henderson Hogan Agency at 10 a.m. I went there. I had my tape. Chick saw I was lean, mean, you know.
Yeah.
Boom, they signed me up.
Shit.
Month and a half later, I end up on Law and Order, recurring role for 9 years.
Man.
But it all started from that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little spark, you know?
That is unbelievable, man. I love stories like that. You know, again, with these creative outlets, you know, with music and film and all that kind of stuff, it's like you get stories like that, inspiration.
Yeah.
You know, when I used to do amateur fighting, or still continue to drum this day, and like I said, with the podcast and everything like that, and we're so happy you came on today. I still got a little bit more to pick your brain on,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, but that's the thing about just using the creativity, and everyone's got a story, and it comes from a spot sometimes you don't even know where it comes from, and you find yourself out there acting.
Yeah, so that goes back to what you were asking earlier, like what you consider younger people and so forth. There's so many things, you know, the old saying, just throw the shit against the wall.
Yeah, see if it sticks.
Hopefully. I mean, there's truth to it because, like I said, if I didn't do that, seriously, if I didn't do that, I may have never gotten an agent because I met so many people over the years.
Yeah.
They good people that can't get a break. Thank you. My wife just poured me a glass of vino.
Salud, agendan.
Hello, no.
Beautiful.
So, that's what you got to do. You got to do it. You got to keep punching, to use the vernacular, right?
That's what you got to do, man. You know, it's like it's always been for me, like music, and my father was a musician. He actually was in a band with Frank Vincent and Joe Pesci for a little while. They used to play at the Jersey Shore, and I always thought it was badass, man. My dad was a great
That's
jazz,
awesome. Was he
yeah,
really?
yeah, blues and jazz guitar player, and I
Oh,
got into
cool.
drums and then
Nice.
boxing and all that kind of stuff, and then I just kind of wanted to do a variety show, so I got boxers that come on, I got actors such as yourself.
No.
It's great, man. It's a lot of fun, and I actually did a little acting here and there during COVID. I was like, someone was like, yeah, we need you to do this, or can you? We need a person to do that, or this little scene. It's impossible for me not to like be Johnny from the East Coast and come in and be like, oh, what's going on over here now? You got a problem with this guy? With you?
Right.
Let me talk to him. And like, yo, John, just be. You got to be an agent. You're a federal agent. They don't talk like that. Just be there, be stoic, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know.
I totally overacted that.
Well, some of these people, like when I used to go to Law and Order, right? I would drive up I'd get the heads up for doing the show. And I would drive down, stay at the YMCA. There was a phone booth down the hall, like a payphone. It wasn't even a cell phone. When I started out, like that was later.
Yeah.
So you had to run down the hall all day checking your answering service, going, I didn't call you, like that. And I remember going on that show and meeting some people there who were like extras in the precinct. You'd see them all the time, same faces. And they'd go, hey, how's a guy like you come here from Boston? You get a recurring role in a show in New York. I'm waiting tables and I went to Yale Drama School. I go, that's the way it goes.
That's just the way it goes, man.
There's no fairness in this game. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just the way someone gets the break. Some people get those breaks, man. It's beautiful. And it's well deserved. Like, guys like, the cast members and, of a show like The Sopranos or just in general, like, great work of art, whether it's a fantastic movie, great television series, great music, that's what it's all about, man. Again, creative vibes and getting out there, good people that are there for the right job and opportunity. Look at a guy like the drummer from Rush, that had a great opportunity.
Neil,
Imagine he never had those opportunities. He took a chance with his drum set that were stored in garbage cans.
Right.
To audition for Rush from UK to Canada, became one of the most decorated drummers of all time.
Oh my God, yeah.
You take a chance. What about with music? You like music? Obviously you
do.
Music. What kind of stuff?
Music. Well, I guess, I'll still lean to my era, classic rock, but heavy, deep dives, not just, top 40 stuff. I'm a real music buff. I had I think I still have, that Mojo magazine, music magazine?
Yeah.
1,000 of those. And a big fat thing out of England with freaking deep, heavy articles on music and album reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Backstories. Like 2,000 record albums, maybe 3,000, 4,000 CDs. I don't buy them anymore. The CDs, of course, because you don't really need to.
Yep.
But I love music. My older son is a rock and roll guitarist. He has a band called Cooped Out. They're phenomenal.
Awesome.
He is a...
Where can I have a big music audience? Where can my listeners find that band?
Coopedout.com. They're on Spotify, all that stuff like that. They're everywhere. They're really good. They got like a fusion sound, a little surf, rock and roll, a little blues. I mean, they really make it their own. They're unique. They do some great covers. And it's not just because of my son, right? I play the album going, I don't even remember it. I go, I just love this.
Yeah.
So, but I know like all the heavy stuff. I've been listening to in bed at night, 17 minutes of the Doors doing the end of the Isle of Wight festival.
Okay.
I'm on I'm on a kick. You know how you want to kick? I'm on this thing. I'm listening to every version of the end, and when the music's over, I can find.
Again. Yeah, I call it Music Appreciation Hour. I usually go on my balcony. I usually have a little something with me, obviously, right here. Sometimes I'll upgrade to a little smoking device and put on some Doors and kind of lose myself a little bit. They're great. Like, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. I think one of the first prog rock bands ever. Extremely underrated in that category.
Yeah, and not even the hits. I mean, it's the other stuff. Like say Love Her Madly. All right, that's not great.
Yeah,
Whatever, but the radio hits, forget that stuff. It's the
right.
other, it's the hidden stuff, the lesser, what seems to be the lesser stuff to the general public, which is not the theatricality of the band, the era and time they came out of, the place they came out of. The whole thing just is magic to me. And there's many bands like that. And that's I do deep dives like you probably do. I'm even doing currently, I'm into George Jones era country and all them guys.
Yeah,
I'll go there. I'll even go there. I go all over. I don't do rap.
yeah.
Just when it doesn't hit. Yeah, I may
No,
hear something. It's just not my bag. I like guitar playing
you know
overall.
what's funny? What wasn't my bag until I met my wife. She's big into country. That was like the one style I didn't listen to. And then I started listening to the lyrics. It's about getting laid, knocking out your bills, getting drunk, and enjoying life. I'm like, you know what? This isn't too bad because this sounds like my life. Like so,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Uh,
But old country though, the new country, I'm not vibing on that. I don't
yeah,
really
yeah. You're talking old school
old school.
cowboy shit.
You like George Jones,
Yeah,
Johnny
cowboy.
Cash, pre-American recordings, which were great. I love the American recordings he did with Rick Rubin. I love all that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking even before that, Merle Haggard, like stuff that these guys couldn't get played nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's a different style. Let me ask
Rock
you
and roll
this.
basically is my main thing. You
Oh,
know.
absolutely. Same here, man.
Yeah.
Rush, Toto, Zeppelin, bands like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Here's what's up. I got a big one for you here to close out. Tony Soprano, did he get whacked at Holston's at the end of The Sopranos?
I've always said no. He did not, and I'm going to hold to it. Although sometimes I go, maybe he did, because sometimes it hits you that way. I go,
Yeah.
but then I go, no, because I believe, and I'm not 100% certain, Chase has sort of contradicted himself on this. I think.
Yes.
I think I read stuff. He goes, well, no, 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 no. Then I read, I think not long ago, a year ago, whatever. He goes, well, he got whacked. Yeah. So I guess it's whatever you want it to be. But the show had to end. Even though he fooled, the thing about it was the greatest trick in history that every person everywhere said the cable went out, right?
Yeah.
You thought the cable went out. You couldn't believe it was going out at that moment. Everybody, what just happened? And then people are pissed off. But
Yeah, people were
you
pissed.
can't even think it's actually in a way ingenious because people are still talking about it. Other shows, I don't even remember what their endings are. I don't even know. This who cares, right? It just ended, whatever. But this ending, people still talk about it. So I guess it was a good move to keep
Yeah.
people talking about it, right?
Man, I tell you what, when I remember watching that big watch party and everyone thought the same thing, and then I rewatched it again, and I was like, you know what? I think that they're just blacking him out. He got shot, you know?
Very well might have. You know what it is? It's the love of Tony Soprano that you don't want nothing to happen to him.
Yeah.
So I'm going, no, I don't want to go there. So I go, no. It was just a minutia, the day in the life. I mean, you could really analyze it both ways and come out whichever way you want to go. Oh, he's in a world of bad guys. Yeah, there's shady, scary looking guys walking in and out, sitting there. Okay, this is his life and world every day, probably to some degree. And it was just another one. And they focused on it. They highlighted it. They built that tension with Meadow parking the car. And it was a pretty cool ending, really.
I thought it was phenomenal. I love the way it sets up with the POV and the music. And it just, there's a lot of closure too when he goes and sees Junior and Janice. Like, it felt right. Silvio was in the hospital,
Right. Yeah.
it was like the whole crew was pretty much out. It made sense.
Everybody was whacked, bang, hit.
But there ain't no show quite like it. I actually went. It was funny. Me and my sister. Last time I was in Jersey to visit, I'm like, I had never been to the Soprano house, so I was like, "You want to take a ride with me?" She's a big fan, obviously. So we go over there, took some pictures, and we went to Holston's, and I got the booth, and I was happy, and it was meant to be the one because I asked the woman, she's like, she heard the voice or whatever. She's like, "Oh, you're here for." I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She's like, hold up a second. And she gave me the booth. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's nice. And I got to say, the onion rings are pretty damn good.
Yeah. I'm the host of this cheesy documentary on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It's a long story, but it's Sopranos behind the scenes, it's called, or whatever. It's made years ago. And it's lay people submitting their videos. Say they're shooting out in the street and you filmed it with your little camera. The guy who made this thing would buy your footage from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what made up the whole thing, interspersed with interviews that he got from me, Robert Finaro, Frank Vincent, a whole bunch of people.
I would love to see that. I'm on this. This is out now.
Prime. So
Yeah.
here's what happened. So I was the host, very prominent host role, right? He released it after only 3 seasons. It was out. And then for licensing, after about a year, he had to pull it from the shelves. Okay. So he leaves it be. Then the show goes on for another 3 years. He accumulates more footage, more footage, more footage. It's a bigger thing. So my host roles, now in the final analysis, my hosting presence has been diminished because he went another 3 seasons, and
Right.
he loaded it up more with footage, which was great,
Yeah. Right.
But it's out there. It's kind of weird. It's a little cheesy, but it's also pretty good at the same time.
Hey, I'd love to watch it. I'm interested in that stuff, and I'm sure the audience is too. And thank
Oh
you.
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. There's some like the POV from a person's camera standing on a street corner, from like looking at it like that.
Yeah.
Some of the cast talk to the person filming, they may, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Whatever stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. And again, I'm sure the listeners are, and we appreciate you spending so much time. This was great. So much
I
time.
Got to plug my podcast. I have to plug.
Please.
The Be a Man Experience podcast. A lot of people know the Be a Man meme. It's huge, over 1 million followers on TikTok. I think 1 million on Instagram. My friend is the legendary Be a Man. We don't say his name. He is the Be a Man. Be a Man is Be a Man. And he's got people, there's a lot of people are going to know who he is. Who hear this. But he and I do a podcast together called the Be a Man Experience. And it's all the places podcasts are at. And we've done 50 so far. And you can watch them on full episodes on YouTube. There's short clips, there's the full things. And it's doing really, really, really well. Who would have thought, right?
Love it, man. Well, you got great stories, and we're looking forward to that, as well as I am. And where my listeners can hear it, they know. But I'll send you the links and everything. It's, iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff like you said, everywhere. The audio stuff, and then the video, obviously YouTube, and I'll be up for our listeners soon. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. Also, for the listeners, one more time, your son's band, please.
Cooked Out. Cooked Out. You're going to like them.
Awesome. John, you and yours. Much love and respect, as always.
Man.
Thank you, my man.